Bro. What the fuck? What's up, Washington fans? How are you feeling right now? Congratulations. Take a deep breath. You're probably having heart palpitations right now. That's completely okay. That game went from being completely over to all of a sudden your nuts having to live in your throat for 4 plays in a row that was one of the wildest endings that I've ever seen, and would have been an all-time bad break if an injury to one of your best players ends up basically giving the other team a free timeout and costing game. But in the end, you know what Washington did, Aaron? What they've done now, 21 times in a row? The only thing they do is they just keep winning.
Yeah.
And you all keep telling me that the other team's going to beat him, even though they're beating Oregon 3 years in a row. Now they're beating Texas 2 years in a row, going to the national championship. Huge congrats to Michael Penix Jr. and the Washington Huskies and Kalen DeBoer and the whole squad.
Listen, I guess to make one of us happy in this relationship between you and me, maybe I should doubt them again for the national championship. That way they win, exactly. And then you could be happy because I really don't have like a dog in the fight technically in this whole thing. So, go Michigan, go Blue, beat that ass next weekend. No, we'll talk about what a terrible throw by Quinn Ewers. I mean, you had it set up. You had one-on-one with A.D. Mitchell, who levitated on that previous one, and you throw it kind of out of bounds. Like, just throw a 50-50 ball up where he could literally plant his feet and elevate to go catch it. Instead, you throw it towards the sideline where, as a receiver, he's having to think, I have to keep my feet in bounds while catching it. So he didn't have a chance to jump up, and all the DB did was jump up in the air and then swat it away. It's like, Quinn, you had it, man. Literally one-on-one with AD, throw it in bounds and let him go up there and try to win a 50-50 ball. And kind of the way Quinn Ewers' night was, just very inconsistent, a lot of batted balls. It wasn't his night, man. It just was not Quinn's night.
Interesting, because I think we had a bit of a debate over how large the quarterback advantage was for Washington the other day. As the core 3 tenets why I liked Washington were quarterback advantage, intangibles, and coaching advantage. I think coaching advantage is hard to judge, right? I mean, whatever. But I definitely feel like you saw the intangibles of Washington today, and you definitely felt the difference in Michael Penix. I mean, the dude was automatic all night long, threading the ball deep, long, short, over the middle, anticipation, wherever it needed to go. And most importantly, taking care. Like, the O-line did fine, but really taking care of that Texas pass rush with his mobility. And with his ability to escape and still keep his eyes downfield and still make the play, Michael Penix Jr. is unreal. And
I think to me that was the biggest thing tonight. It was we knew he was going to be able to make passes down the field. Like that wasn't a question. Like that those receivers with Michael Penix and his accuracy, they were going to create big explosive plays. I mean, I didn't know if it'd be that consistent, and some of the passes he made were just an absolute thing of beauty. But when Texas did kind of get, win their one-on-one battles up front, how many times did we see Michael Penix make a defender miss?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Every time.
I mean, I think it was Sweat one time that blew through 2 guys. It just went and then sidearm across the middle to Aduze, and boom, it's a first down. Those plays to me, because we've kind of turned the conversation for the NFL draft into 3 guys. With Jaden Daniels as number 3. The way Michael Penix played tonight, not only did he put Washington in the national championship, Michael Penix is now in the conversation of a top 2, top 3 pick from the quarterback spot heading into the draft.
Yeah. That
was unbelievable what he did tonight.
I know, Saints fans and a lot of fans or whatever, any NFL fan base that unfortunately their team doesn't have a great pick, but they need a quarterback is all looking at Michael Penix tonight, salivating, thinking that maybe that he can fall to them, and rightfully so. Again, one of the moments I go back to is I talk about the intangibles of Washington and how battle tested this team was, and how they constantly take the shape of whatever the game is calling for on that day. And so when you have Washington really dominate the first half, but because of a fumbled punt, because they didn't get that 4th and 1 down there in the red zone, and credit to a really gritty drive from Texas, right? Texas hadn't gotten shit going the whole first half. And then they go, what was it, 10 plays, 72 yards, gotta have it to tie it. At that moment, you felt like, well, Washington's been kicking ass, and it's a tie game. Like this is probably treating Texas' way. But at the halftime interview, Kalen Moore talked about, he said, look, we've been in these situations all year long. Cool as a cucumber. Unflappable. We've been in these situations all year long. We're used to it. We're going to do our thing. What do? They come out. They immediately go down and score a touchdown. They force a turnover. They kick a field goal. And from then on, they really had firm control of the game until that spooky fucking insanity at the end. So, yeah, look, Washington's been in dogfights all years.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to get in a fucking close game with Washington, good luck, because they've been living here, and they love the stage. Like we talked about Penix, he loves the stage, he loves the close game, and they just consistently find ways to pull it out, no matter how they've been playing up to that point. Even though they played really well today, obviously.
Yeah, and someone in the chat goes, Texas was a better team besides the quarterback spot, and I don't know, man. Like I was really impressed in general from Washington from every position. I thought the defense played well.
Yeah,
I thought the offensive line played well. Obviously, the receivers are elite as elite can be. Like Penix was dropping some dimes down there, but those receivers and their late hands and their ability to stack defenders and get on top of DBs to make it even easier for Penix to be able to make those completions down the field. Adunze on the one, I think it was Adunze when he had the post route where he kind of got pulled a little bit and continued to run and still made the catch down the field. Like plays like that. So like they were the better quarterback. They were the better receiver. I thought they were the better offensive line.
Yeah.
And I thought they were more consistent defensively. I thought their defense was
well,
great.
Yeah, I mean, look, the
Washington
Washington back end may not be great, but the Washington secondary is way better than Tech secondary. Tech secondary is an actual weakness.
Yes.
You can say Washington secondary is average, right? But the Tech secondary is average.
Washington's whole defense is just good. They're not
elite.
They're not, but they're not bad either. Like there isn't like this major glaring weakness where we knew Texas had a major glaring weakness in the secondary, and it got exposed. It was, you better get to Penix, or you're going to get the shit beat out of you on the back end. Well, they got the Penix a couple of times. He made you miss, and he still whooped your butt throughout, for 4 quarters. So where I look at Washington, and we have the narrative has been elite offense and not a great defense. I think the narrative has definitely changed over the past 6 games of elite offense and can be the best offense in the country, if not one of the best, and a good defense that can get it done.
Yeah, I think again, and the sauce that Washington has as well is that intangible win factor. That's why computer models and everything else keep missing on them, because they cannot compute what it means to have a team that's very well coached, very well led, very used to being in fights, and knows how to handle themselves in fights. Also, the play calling. Like, I know everybody always talks about the play design with Grubb and everything and how incredible it is. But what did we say going into this game? In every single big game this season, Washington has remained committed to running the ball. Not always the most effectively, but they will at least do it enough to give them a little game control, make you respect it, and make you feel it a little bit. I mean, you beat up on a team, right? 31 carries, only 102 yards, but again, breaking that 30 carry threshold in an offense that I think most people just think of as being Penix and the receivers, which it absolutely is. But to be a good football team, a championship football team, you at least have to be committed to that portion of the game from a play calling standpoint. And granted, the big playability probably allows them to rush the ball more with a little less success because they can make up these larger to go situations. But it's, I'm just very impressed to sit here again on a night when you're only averaging like 3 yards. Dylan Johnson, 21 for 49, but they kept running it. They kept calling it, and they had enough success so that Texas couldn't just completely disrespect the rushing attack.
Next week's gonna be interesting. It is two polar opposites when it comes to how to execute offense. I mean, it is the Michigan that just wants to pound you and pound and slow the game down, and it's the Washington up tempo, spread you out, throw the ball down the field, and just use the running game just to let the team know that, hey, we can run the football, but we really don't care what we're going to get out of it because it's just there. Someone in the chat made an interesting point. I didn't really think about it like this, but obviously we all know that college football is trending in the direction of SEC and Big Ten, the two super conferences. Well, obviously Michigan is the Big Ten, Alabama's the SEC, Texas will be the SEC, Washington will be part of the Big Ten next year. We're going to have essentially a Big Ten matchup in the championship, and both Big Ten teams and future Big Ten teams took out the SEC, the big bad SEC, in one day. So where the SEC was trending against the Big Ten heading into this matchup, Missouri winning versus
they beat Ohio State. Maryland was the only one.
Maryland was the only one. You had Ole Miss taking down Penn State. Yeah. All of a sudden, the two big boy games, all of a sudden the Big Ten can now start flexing their muscles a little bit, knowing that they got two teams in there when it's all said and done next weekend.
And like Big Ten fans have been having to just eat this SEC shit for years. Like, it has to feel good. Although, interestingly, I think there's just as many people who are like me, where I have no conference pride. I want all my conference rivals to fucking lose. And I'm ecstatic about Alabama losing. And I'm ecstatic about Texas losing. Fucking horns down for life. Always. I got no problem, Michigan. And I've been cheering for Washington all year. Let's fucking go, dude. So bring on the Big Ten. I love it. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people up in a different part of the country that are like, fuck Michigan. Those fans are unbearable, whatever. We don't deal with them a lot down here. And so cool, Michigan too. And it's impressive. What Kalen DeBoer has done.
Yeah.
The guy just knows how to win championships, dude. He just knows how to do. I don't know how to explain it. I guess if you could fucking try to replicate it and then you win championships yourselves. But like the consistency that he is able to achieve for his entire career is nothing short of absurd.
Yeah. Chris Wells, appreciate the super chat. Good season, gents. Look forward to your 2024. Hell yeah. Going to start with a bang all week long. Is this a must-win situation? Like we've talked about his stats.
They're not a mediocre team. Washington, how can coach? Sorry, Cohen in the chat says Washington is a good coach and a mediocre team. That's so fucking crazy to say.
You don't 3 or 4 first rounders on that roster. You literally have 3 or 4 first rounders.
And yes, exactly. So they have talent, but like even regardless of NFL draft stock, you don't beat the next 5 top finishers in your conference in the Pac-12 in a year in which it was very strong. You don't beat Oregon twice like you did. You don't beat Texas for a second year in a row. This time a red hot Texas playing as good football as and find yourself in the national championship by accident. This is
a damn good football team.
And I know, which I want to ask you a little bit, but a lot of people kind of do. Like, I think there still is that SEC, I still think a lot of people think that Washington's not that good because everybody keeps fucking choosing them to lose. Everybody. And they just keep winning.
I get it. Yeah, put a different logo on their helmets, and maybe we'll think about it differently. I'll ask you this: Is this a must? Is this as good as it's going to get for Washington, though? Like, the roster is perfectly set up where you do have this elite quarterback in Michael Penix Jr., who is just absolutely incredible. You have 3 elite receivers. 2 of them could be first rounders. Like, you have the best offensive line. The offensive line just won the Joe Moore Award a week ago. Like, this is the perfect situation, along with obviously an elite coach, to have a chance to win a national championship. Like, is this sustainable in your mind, though, at a place like Washington? That goes to like the whole perception of what we view Washington as.
So that's where I'm going to ignore what I think should be the answer is no, it can't be sustainable. It's Washington. I'm going to say yes because Kalen DeBoer. Like, I don't think I don't think you're ever going to be year in and year out the threat that like a Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State might be. Michigan obviously deserves to be in that. But I think Kalen DeBoer, with a 12-team playoff, I could see Kalen DeBoer getting in more often than not. Unless we just want to completely ignore his sample size. Texas rocks. I love you, dog. It's all in love. You're great. You're a great member of the chatting community here.
Where do you put him? Where do you put him? Is he top 5?
Absolutely.
You and I talked about the tiers, and obviously tier 1 is kind of set aside for those who win a national championship.
Yeah.
Is he firmly in tier 2 already?
He's been absolutely. Okay. Probably arguably you could have made that argument after last season. Going 11-2, combined with all of his lower level success, but 1,000%, there's no denying him now.
Yeah.
He's with like we said, if you only get tier 1 of you and Natty, so he is at the tippy top of tier 2 with anybody else that hasn't won one, like a Harbaugh, Kelly, maybe even no Kelly. I would still say Brian Kelly. There's some maybe win it. DeBoer, Lane in there. Trending there.
I would put Lane in there.
Shout out to guy T. Taylor with the $10 super chat. Thank you, T. Hell yeah, man.
Sorry, we're going to say something. How do you view Texas going forward?
Texas is gonna okay, so that's what I was gonna say to Texas Rocks. Is like, I know this hurts tonight, but like, I do actually think Texas is back.
Yeah.
And so I think they're going to be consistently good from this moment on. And yeah, like I think they'll I mean, if Ewers returns, which I think he will, I think they'll be right there, right behind Georgia and Alabama next year in the SEC.
Mm-hmm. Talented. I think Quinn, especially with essentially he's at best 5 heading into the draft. At best 5. So I don't think
why would he leave when he could stay making money, stay playing college football?
Quinn's coming back. So you got a 3rd-year starting quarterback coming back.
Yeah,
they've recruited their asses off. They're going to be great.
Awesome.
Texas should be 9 out of 10 times in the playoffs going forward.
I mean, you know what's crazy though, dude? I think Big Titty says 0 sacks by the Fawn Texas D line. I know, but that's Penix. I mean, that was just Penix constantly avoiding but what I think what's crazy is
I think you're just pissed off too. This is the one area that T-Bob would be pissed off tonight is I can't give the voters the Joe Moore Award any shit for picking a bad offensive line.
Hey, no. You take that up with Kublik. Looked like a good offensive line to me.
They did look good. They had a good night.
No, I think, you know what's crazy though is I think we're entering, or I hope, maybe this is wish thinking. I hope, and perhaps we're entering a bit of a golden age for college football, where instead of just 1 to 2 powers every year, we could be looking at a gaggle of superpowers, right? Like, instead of creating the hyper powder concentration that I thought the portal and NIL would, it's done this democratization thing. And what it's kind of made me open my eyes to is, oh, wait, no, we've been living in the oligarchy. Like, we've been living where it's been the hyper concentration of talent and power and resource. Like, finally now some of that is getting to spread out, right? So that's how a Washington can be more relevant, because I'll have Kalen DeBoer and he'll be able to sell kids on coming up there and getting the piece that he needs. And I trust him in evaluating those pieces. That's how an Ole Miss is now suddenly frisky and hot and heavy in Mizzou. But then even and then still your superpowers are going to remain so because they still have more money, like Georgia, Bama, Ohio State. They're still willing to spend more. So no, I think we're like, yeah, man, we could be on the verge of a golden age of college football.
We have some things to clean up, especially the calendar. But I think we are when it comes to this was the best playoff we've ever seen, and I think this was a perfect example of where college football is trending towards.
Yes,
it is becoming, and this was one of the most competitive seasons that we've also had when it comes to college football. So I do believe we're heading in the right direction. Joe Pluff, I saw this a lot on social media. Penix should have won the Heisman. I saw a lot of people saying, well, if the Heisman was voted on after the season, it'd be Michael Penix's award. We've been through the numbers on the show. Right. Michael Penix died off for about 4 or 5 weeks towards the end of the season. He did.
Can't he just be awesome without having to be the Heisman winner too?
No, 100%. Well, I don't think anyone was ever doubting his awesomeness, but you have to understand what the award goes to. Yeah. It's not the guy that was a Heisman guy for 6 games of the season. I know. It's a full season, and he just didn't do it, unfortunately.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, like, him not being the Heisman winner, it doesn't really it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't prove anything about him. It's not anything negative. Like, it's like you said, he's just not the numbers, everything you said, but he's still fucking incredible. So if you derail the conversation into he should have won the Heisman, all you're inviting is debate that misses the point entirely. The point is Michael Penix Jr. is a fucking dog who loves the big stage and isn't afraid to throw it fucking deep and throw into coverage and slip it right over your head or right under your arm or right behind your butt. Just put it wherever he needs to to get the job done. And like, that's what you should be talking about with Michael Penix. He's a fucking winner, who just makes game-winning plays constantly. And Brian Hall says the difference with the turnovers, the freshman running back were careless with the ball. Look, that really hurt Texas. But you got to remember, I mean, again, Washington fumbled the original punt. They gave Texas their only life for a while there. And they also got stopped, turnover on downs, but they did get stopped in the red zone as well. So both teams had their moments.
Also, the fun conversation all week was, I don't know if you saw the press conference for Texas, but Quinn Ewers was sitting on the bench and Manning's getting interviewed by about 20 or 30 reporters. It's kind of like, who's the starting quarterback? Over here is Manning. Manning's getting swarmed. This is during media day, swarmed by about 20, 30 reporters, all huddled around him. And Quinn Ewers is just sitting solo. No one's talking to him. And it's just like, it's kind of hilarious. And I know a lot of people they kept showing him during the game. Quinn Ewers, there will not be a battle next year. Manning decided to come back and knowing pretty darn well, about 80%, that Quinn Ewers was going to be coming back next year, and that I'm going to have to spend another year learning behind him before I take the ropes as a Texas Longhorn.
I don't think Manning's really rushing to the field. I think it's okay for guys to want to chill and develop and learn college and like grow up a little, grow up a little bit and get bigger and stronger.
Yeah. I think it's the name, and it's obviously being a highly recruited kid and everything that went into it. Like, you expect those guys to come in there and start right away, and that's the perfect world and the perfect situation. But like, you're behind a quarterback that probably next year is going to be a first-round draft pick. And then after that, guess what? You're going to have 3 years to start at Texas.
And look, Ewers had flashes tonight. He just doesn't have the his whole deal for going into next year is just going to be consistency.
Yes.
And he's been way better at it this year, but through his first 2 years, that's been and that's anybody's development, right? But that's been the thing that's eluding him is a consistency that you've seen guys like Penix and the other greats this year achieve.
I like Quinn, but he's just mentally slow. I think I think Quinn plays fast. Like, I think I've always talked about on the show, like he throws the ball with some, I think, above average to elite. I would even put it in the elite category, elite anticipation. I think Quinn's a really good quarterback. I think he's, like T, you're hitting it well there. Like, I think he's on the cusp of becoming that mid-round, first round to top 10 NFL pick next year. I think that's why he came back. He kind of saw it like, this is a year where I'll probably be the 5th or 6th quarterback taken. I come back next year, I'll be battling with Carson and a couple other guys. Him and Beck, I think, are probably 2 favorites to be the top 10, top 2 quarterbacks taken in the NFL draft next year.
Jay Buchanan, $5 super chat. Thank you. Says, when do y'all think Saban makes his retirement announcement? With a smiley emoji on the end.
Not as fast as Dallas Turner declaring for the NFL draft.
There was a little, so in case you missed it, Dallas Turner after the game said, I'm going to league, essentially, but then he tacked on like ain't no ifs, and, or buts about it. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, that's a little extra. Like, where you, it just, there's a little bit behind those words. Like, he was kind of ready to get the fuck out. Now, I know it's a bad loss, or no, you lose the game, and so that hurts, and so you're like, fuck this. But like, I thought it was kind of interesting. I did think that was kind of
interesting. You've heard this and I've heard this. You don't have a lot of fun at Alabama. There ain't a lot of fun at Alabama. It is, I've talked to plenty of guys that I was teammates with and other buddies that like it is a job. It is exhausting.
I do agree with Jamie, baby. I love seeing Turner declare that fast because these guys do the same and when they like want to say it, but people don't. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Like, and I do know that, man, in college football, even if you go to like not even such a serious place, it's a fucking grind. You've been doing it for a while, and you've been constantly having people telling you what to do, and just like every minute of your day planned out for fucking 5 years in my case. I guess in his it's only 3, but still, I too was like, I am never running another 110 ever fucking again. Get me the fuck out of here.
I just wish he would have been just like, let me give it a day to breathe, and then maybe come out with something like tomorrow or the next day. I just felt like it kind of left there was a little
taste
in the mouth the way he said it.
We reacted to that exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Bow down to Washington, says Jake Johnson. Where the fuck is Turner Young? after all of our super chats that he's given us about Washington, shitting on Aaron, our Washington correspondent isn't even here to victory lap on the biggest day for Washington football in nearly 30 years.
Well, he was just happy that we finally had a Washington guest with Neuheisel last week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, hey, me and Rick tried to tell you, dog. Me and Rick been staying on these dogs all year long, dude. And you love the dogs. You just don't like this West Coast version. Sad. Professor Flex. That's good. Professor Flex 420. Penix Jr. better than JJ McCarthy. Yeah, I'm going to be fascinated to start to break down this game. I'm going to be fascinated because that's a big quarterback advantage.
Let's do a quick initial thoughts for next week.
Okay, big quarterback advantage.
Yep.
Washington.
Big skill advantage.
Yep.
I think the Dylan Johnson thing's fascinating. If Dylan can't play next week, that is. I would say they don't want to run the football. They don't have to run the football. They kind of do it just to, give you the thought process that you have to somewhat defend it. But he's been kind of the only guy that runs the ball for them. So
yeah, I think no, that's bad. I think Michigan though does have a big defensive advantage. Like we said, Washington's defense is good. Michigan's is elite. Michigan shut Jalen Milroe and Alabama the fuck down earlier. Coaching,
coin toss, flip. I take
bit of a wash. Yeah. What about the intangibles, the ephemeral intangibles that I keep referencing? I think Michigan's got really strong in that department as well.
I do too.
They dealt with a lot of bullshit this year, and they just kind of packed a lunch and kept going to work.
I think both teams have dealt with a lot this year in different ways. Obviously, Michigan has dealt with the scandal, their coach being suspended for 6 games and getting through all that, where Washington has kind of dealt with that massive chip on their shoulder of everyone doubting them every single week. They played a big team and they continue to kind of fight through games, win close games, win ugly games, whatever it may be, like kind of just put it together. It's hard for me to say this, but I just leaning right now, I feel like Washington's a more complete team because they do have the elite offense and I do think they have a good defense. Where I look at Michigan and they got an elite defense, but I still think their offense is average.
I know, but again, that's a fucking good Alabama defense, best secondary in the country, and you just saw JJ.
I know.
What was it, 230? Basically,
did a great game. Can he do it again? And I'll say this: how I always lean in this situation when it comes to, and I've talked about it.
I agree that Washington's America's team, Kevin. I do agree with that.
When it comes to elite offensive play, like what is given the best defenses in the country issues over the past couple seasons? And I'll just give Georgia's great skill and a great quarterback.
Yeah, true.
What has given Georgia, who's had the best defense the past 2 seasons, from 2001 and 2022, Alabama when they were healthy at receiver. And then last year, Ohio State, what they had at receiver and at quarterback with CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, dude. It is kind of.
I'm just saying, like, I don't care how.
Doesn't our boy Colin Wilson have like just a massive bet on Washington?
Like pay out $50K, I think.
Oh,
I'm just telling you, man. It is when you have a quarterback that's playing the way, like if Penix can duplicate what he did tonight, which we all know he's more than capable of doing it, and we know how talented those receivers are. There's not enough good DBs on anyone's team to slow down an offense like that.
I mean, look at Adunze and Polk tonight. Now, granted, shitty tech secondary, but Adunze 6 for 125, Polk 5 for 122, including the 77-yarder. Jalen McMillan 5 for the 8, and then a guy that never gets any love, but has consistently made good big plays all year long, Jack Westover, the tight end with a cool 6 for 59 tonight. The Dylan Johnson thing's a little scary, though. I do agree with you there because he's been their rock, and I don't even know who they really hand it to consistently behind that. But Kevin says that Washington's going to send me a ring for being the only media believer. Hell yeah, dude. They give out like 1 million rings nowadays. Like if you do a school-affiliated podcast that the school pays you for, I feel like you get a ring. So I will take that, absolutely. And yes, BB, and I picked Washington to win on the money line. Aaron was a scared little boy and only took the +4.
He was shitting his pants.
I was shitting my pants. I was standing up I had my headphones off because Aaron was like 5 seconds ahead of me. I had headphones off. I was shutting my ears so I couldn't hear anything coming out of the headphones, and I was blocking Aaron from my view with my elbow to watch the last play because I couldn't see the. I did not want to see the reaction.
John in the chat, you guys are once again enamored by flashy plays, bro. The chicks dig the deep ball.
Yeah, wait, what do you mean? Of course, like, yeah.
Why would you not be enamored by Penix throwing 30-yard dime routes on go balls and post routes? Like,
blood pumping in my veins. Like, what do you mean? Of course. Am I alive? Yeah. Like, fuck, dude. I was pretty enamored with that beautiful Quinn Ewers deep ball at the end as well. Yeah. That was awesome. Like, yeah, they're fucking great. What was it here? A guy has the name Race Bannon in the chat. Do you know who Race Bannon is, Aaron?
Mm-mm.
You ever watch Johnny Quest?
Mm-mm.
One of the most legendary cartoons of all time. My old man was a massive Johnny Quest fan, so I grew up watching it, and Race is Dr. Quest's best friend, but questionable. I don't know what kind of relationship they had now that I'm older. But it's fine, whatever it was. But yeah, you should watch Johnny Quest sometime.
Okay.
I'm not going to cop out on the fuckboy fade, guys. I promise you, it's coming in April. I swear. Kevin, give us your natty immediate picks. I think what Aaron just said convinced me. Yeah, the weapons and the gap between Penix and McCarthy, though I like McCarthy. That's going to push. I'll early on here. Give me some time.
Do I script the whole Washington vibe? Do I go with Washington? I feel like Washington fans are going to be pissed off me, but I'm with Washington right now. I have to go. I have to go with what I've said for years. Elite offense will trump a great defense.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm going to go with Washington.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, Kevin.
Logan Scarborough, what Star Wars character is Michael Penix? So that's the real question. I mean, okay. I don't think Race played a part in this, but Mace Windu did immediately jump into my head. And yes, it's Samuel L. Jackson, and yes, Michael Penix Black. I get that. But way, way, way beyond that, Mace Windu has he's okay. First off, he's incredibly powerful, right? Like one of the most powerful, just pure fighters that has ever existed. And he uses a purple lightsaber. What color is Washington? Purple. Mm-hmm. Why is it purple? Because he is engaged in a lightsaber technique that is actually tinged with the dark side. Now, he managed not to be overcome with it, but that blue combined with red, all of a sudden it's purple. When I see Michael Penix Jr. freestyling on the sideline when they're losing to Oregon about how he's about to go beat Oregon with a touchdown, and then he does that shit, that's some big dick dark side energy, but a control, but he's still so nice, so good guy at the end of the day. So that's why I would actually say Mace Windu. I was not going to say Lando next for all the time. That's fucked up. No. I was not going to. I guess, yeah, okay. I was going to end the show, but this is correct from JT.
Is it really 1:30? Holy shit.
Yeah. I got a morning show in like 4 hours. But we have to mention this because they're right. This is snaps. It says, how's T-Bob Air not covered the chick who pulled her boobs out on ESPN? Must have missed it. Yeah, that was hilarious. And the funny part is it's not a live shot, but somebody, shit, man, you're just doing your job. You're going through the motions. Somebody on the pre-approved B-roll, like the footage that they filmed just to play, coming in and out of commercials.
Completely missed it.
Yeah, missed a woman pulling out her nipple to receive some beads which is also crazy because that doesn't go on that much anymore. It doesn't go on. I mean, not like I think the pre-cell phone camera age when people could go down there and be anonymous was way more degenerate. Like I always say this, I've never seen a pair of boobs at Mardi Gras that I was ever like happy to see. Or I could say I could count them like on one hand. Like there's a lot of just and I like a lot of boobs too, but there's a lot of irrational body confidence in Mardi Gras sometime. SEC not representing the natty. I know, I love it, dude. No
prime T-Bob in his day showing off his boobies.
I mean, yeah, I flashed. You don't get anything though. Obviously. All right. Also, pure New Orleans is the fact that there's a woman pushing her child in a stroller directly next to her in the shot, which is absolutely fantastic. Also, yeah, it sucks for her because like now, like all of her friends and family have seen that.
Definitely going viral.
Yeah, dude, you gotta watch out. Dude. You gotta be careful flashing nips. But fuck it, dude. Why are we so hung up on the female nipple anyway? It's actually the height of absurdity. If Aaron can show his nips all the time, why can't we see Sharon's? You know what? Why don't you go ask Sharon to show us hers right
now, Sharon.
To stand up to the patriarchy.
Yeah. It's for snaps. It's for snaps. Let's go.
Stand up to the patriarchy and prove that a nipple's just a fucking nipple.
Yeah.
You know what the dumbest part is? That I kind of get it because I get fucking hyped when I see a nipple. What sort of weird thing has been drilled into us that you can see 99% of a boob, but it doesn't really pop till you see that areola. And you're like, oh yeah, man, now we cooking. Now we cooking, dog. Yes, and if you don't have kids, you'll learn one day, like first PE saying nipples are nurturing. Absolutely, dude.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right. We love you. Please, please, please sub to the channel. We are just 400 away from the 12-5 goal. We got a week to do it, guys. Please spread the word. Thumbs up, everything else.
Yeah, if you're on this chat right now, come on. We have over 450 people. Just hit that thumbs up button. Let's make it happen. 1 week to do it.
Sub. Shout out T Taylor as well. T Taylor is one of our female listeners that gave us a super chat earlier, which always love.
T-Bob is lucky that he's in the central time zone, so he's only 12:30.
Well, no, Gulf South's saying that because he watched me get super fucked up on whiskey and wine and then have to come really here. No, I have not napped Gulf South, and then I'm not gonna nap tomorrow. You know what though? We'll end on this golden rule for life, kids. If you want to hoot with the Owls at night, you got to soar with the Eagles during the day, and that's what we're gonna fucking do. We love you. And we will see you tomorrow for more snaps.